Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Race Face Driving 5 podcast here on raceface.tv. As always, Jacob Seelman hosting, and we've got Clayton Green back with us. As we can see from Clayton's background, not too terribly long removed from your second NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start. You got an opportunity at Martinsville to drive for Josh Rayum in their second truck, the number 22. Had a really, I think what turned out to be a solid learning experience for you, even though it didn't necessarily start out that way. Eh, Take us back to kind of the emotions in qualifying, what you experienced, and then just you put together a good rally through the field. I know on paper it might not be exactly what you wanted, but there was a lot of learning done.
Yeah, started out in qualifying and thought everything was pretty good. Got it cooled down, went out into turn number three and went in the corner and hit the brakes, and there was no brakes, and the wall was coming up pretty quick, and I was able to save it. And I thought, well, maybe the brakes hadn't just fully come in yet, and tried to go down the front straightaway, and I let off a little bit early that down the front straightaway, and it still didn't have any brakes, so I just figured to pull it in because there's no point in trying to tear up the truck, and we just qualified 35th.
So fast forward to the race, 200 laps. You were able to move forward the third most positions of anybody in that race. What was the experience like? I know North Wilkesboro, you didn't have as much experience of being able to race forward through traffic. What was that experience like having more opportunity to genuinely be able to battle your truck through the field a bit?
It was definitely an interesting experience. Uh, Partly due to Martinsville just being so tight. Where North Wilkesboro, there's a lot of room for you to be able to battle and make those moves and do what you need to do. Martinsville is a little bit more restrictive. You're really battling, hard on a very narrow racetrack, and the moves that you have to make to get into Martinsville are not traditional, or you really kind of have to commit and bonsai it off in there, and they'll give you the room, but it's a little unnerving at first because you're not accustomed to that kind of racing where you set up somebody and then maybe you get a run on them coming out of the corner or going into the corner, whatever it may be. You at least have the knowledge of, like, oh, they're going to give me the room, but not kind of the way that it was hard fought through Martinsville. It's definitely far more aggressive than I've ever gotten to race in before.
Was that a case where you kind of had to learn as you went how to use the front bumper a little bit?
Yeah, I really didn't use it at all during that. I just tried to do what everybody else was doing, where uh, you would watch somebody set up and they were a car length away, and they're not going to go, and then sure enough, they stick their nose in there, and people just gave you the room. So it was more of, I think people were saving a lot of their stuff for halfway through the race, and were just letting go of positions whenever they didn't need to sacrifice it, because the other half of that race got a little bit more aggressive.
For sure. Um, your season's Martinsville was the end of your season, so you're wrapped up and starting to look ahead towards 2025. But what have the emotions been this year? I know overall you certainly haven't gotten to race as much as you hoped you would, but I don't think going into this year, you going in, you said you'd be happy with one truck race and to get two out of it, and even at Martinsville, not to start the way it did, but to end with a positive experience. One of those cases where I feel like you've gotten a lot out of this year.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. I came into 2024 thinking that it would be just kind of a rookie year for me in a pro late model again. I haven't raced one in a long time. Had been racing modifieds around here because that's what's been prevalent, and it's what we race around in Texas. And Getting to race a pro late model again was something I thought was great. And then when the opportunity to get to race a truck came in at North Wilkesboro, I was ecstatic. And then to be able to have a second opportunity at Martinsville just makes it even better. And it's definitely given the itch a little bit more to try and do more. And that's what we're going to try and work on for next year. Is next year we're definitely going to work on being in the car more. Just go and hit and attacking any race that we can, um, and as well as trying to build a program to get into some truck races for next year, more truck races for next year.
What do you feel like being able to be in the truck? I know you've only had the couple of experiences, but what do you feel like you've learned as a driver getting those opportunities compared to maybe what you're used to in your past modified experience or even in the pro late model?
I mean, it's different in a very huge way when you get to a racetrack, and usually at that track you can go there on Friday and practice all night, and then you get to go and practice the regular schedule practice, and that's another hour or so for you to be able to sit down, make sure the cars are correct and right, and you can tinker on them and work on them until you're content. And with both attempts in the truck series, I think North Wilkesboro, they gave us a little bit more time. I think it was about 45 minutes of practice, if I remember correctly, which is really short. So we got two chances to go out there and go run uh, a, a practice, and then you're turning around and going to qualify. And even at Martinsville, he was even shorter. Uh, I got a few laps to go and to go get the truck right and get a feel for Martinsville, which was a completely unique track to what I thought it was going to be. I did not think that it was going to be the way that it is. It really is and truly is just a track you go into, jam on the brakes and turn and try and get back to the gas as quickly as you can. And that took me some getting used to because I have never been on a track that narrow before.
I know, as we're looking ahead towards 2025, I kind of get the sense for you because you had been out of the seat for a while prior to this year, but I get the sense, that the opportunities that you've had have really kind of rejuvenated you in a way where, I know a lot of people think, oh, 27 years old, that's the back end of being able to, crack into a top three NASCAR series, but really, I feel like we're seeing that age curve kind of change a little bit to where people like you and others are showing that you don't necessarily have to be 17, 18 years old and already be in one of the top three series, that you can do what you're doing, cut your teeth, and really try to find your way to be successful.
Yeah, y- you know, that's the thing that a lot of people get opportunities when they're very young to go and do those things. And when you, there's a lot of people that are my age that would give up on that. And for me, it's more than that. It's something that I've dedicated a lot of my time to, and just to throw it away and not ever feel like you ever got a shot to truly get to do it. And you get to do, a handful of races here, or, you get to do a handful of races there. They're great opportunities, but it doesn't ever give you a moment to feel like, okay, I could do this, um, or I could perform at a much better level than what I thought. You're always, I feel like in racing, you're always testing yourself. You're always pushing yourself to see like, where are you on the track? Are you a person that can compete with these guys, or are you a person that needs to kind of hang it up? And for each time that I go out there, when I run with these guys, I look at a lot of things and take everybody's information, and we stay uh, able to do that. And that's what I think it's also changing for a lot of people. Like Josh Berry got his opportunity at a later start. Grant Enfinger got an opportunity at a later start, and I think that you get to see that more often because um, I just think that there's a lot of talent from a lot of different ages. I don't think that it's just an 18-year-old can do that, or maybe that person just didn't get the right amount of funding to go do the program that they wanted to go do, and now they do. So Like in my kind of circumstance where I have a little bit of marketing now to where I can finally approach and do those things.
I know you guys had some support go into making the truck opportunity with Ray and Brothers happen. I want to give you a chance before we call this episode good to say some thank yous to the folks that got you in the truck there at Martinsville.
Yeah, I can't thank Josh and Namir and all those guys at that shop enough for their hard work and especially after qualifying when we did lose brakes. We did go into the corner and it was at full speed and just barely we saved that truck. And it dented in a little bit of the body work. Um, and they were able to get both teams there from that he brought together and they worked on that truck and it was ready to race. And that, I mean, I can't express how grateful I am that they were able to turn that around because at any point in time they could have said, "Oh, we're done," and I'm just so you know grateful for that.
I know for you, Clayton, we're looking ahead, crossing our fingers that we'll see you in a truck more in 2025, you and Royal Vista. So, as always, a pleasure, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody one more time before we get the holidays behind us and go towards the
Yeah,
new season.
yeah, and hopefully our next year I have some better news.
Absolutely. That's Clayton Green. My name's Jacob Seelman. This has been another Race Face Drive in 5. We'll see you next time here on raceface.tv. Keep it tuned to the website for all the latest in the world of NASCAR.